Hi, my name is Christopher Kai. Welcome to this exciting webinar where I'm going to teach you how you can become a global speaker and create a profitable online business. We're living in a world where the online training space alone is a $107 billion space. I'll say it again, the online training space alone is a $107 billion space. So you're leaving millions on the table if you do not do business online. My name is Christopher Kai. I'm a global speaker. I've given over 1,000 presentations to a global audience from 30 countries. I've spoken at Fortune 500 companies like American Express, New York Life, Farmers Insurance, and Google. Google is actually one of the most inspiring places you can ever go to because everything is given to you. You literally have valet parking. You go in there, get free lunch. They have bike racks for you. If you need a haircut or food, everything is there for you. It's really, really insane. I've also spoken at a US consulate event, and I've been doing this for 17 years now. I've had the good fortune of speaking all around the world at corporations, associations, nonprofits, colleges, high schools, and churches. I also wrote a Amazon #1 bestselling book called Big Game Hunting, Networking with Billionaires, Executives, and Celebrities. And it's been an amazing journey to be able to share 20 specific strategies on how you can network at the highest levels. After that book, Inc. magazine referred to me as the Billionaire Networker. And at the core, it's really about networking or connecting with people that you want to be like, work with, or work for. So most of my clients are entrepreneurs where they really want to get the specific price points they deserve. All of us offer products and services. So how do you find the clients that are really going to pay you what you're worth because you absolutely deserve a high price point item or a high price point ticket item relative to being a coach or a speaker? So in this webinar, I'm going to share a lot of things. The first thing is I want you to believe that it's possible for you to be a speaker. And I share this with because my first speech, it was 16 years ago, and it was at an all-Black Pentecostal church in Stamford, Connecticut. I'm from New York City originally, and it was actually serendipitous. I used to work for American Express as a business strategist, and what that means is I used to develop global sales presentations for our largest clients like IBM and Microsoft. And so, for instance, if IBM spent a $500 million on a charge card, how do we cross-sell them other products? So I really understood from a global level, how do you sell at that level? And so as I was working there, I was working on my first book about college success. And one of my coworkers named Desmond invited me to the church that he was at. And I really know at the time, but he was actually the pastor. And after I gave my speech, I thought I did a pretty decent job. He walks over to me with a big smile on his face and he hands me an envelope. I opened the envelope with amusement and I'm like wondering what's going on. And he gave me a check for $50. And it was shocking to me that anyone would pay me at the time. And it just really reminded me that, you know what? Dreams really are possible. You really can do things you love and make an impact. And that was the starting point of me as a speaker. So whenever I meet speakers, they ask me, is it possible, Chris? Is it possible? I currently charge $20,000 for a 1-hour speech. And that's just the speaking part. They also buy books for me and they also fly me out to nice hotels and put me up in all these great places. But really, I let you know from the very get-go, from the very beginning, that it is possible. I got paid $50 for my first speech. So wherever you are in life, you have the ability, you have the passion, you have the story to share with other people. And if I can get paid $50, you definitely can pay at least $50 or more. Of course, I want you to charge more. So whether you have a lot of experience or little experience or even no experience, it's all about understanding what your story and it's understanding what solution you provide for your clients' problems. So many times I meet people, they're like, oh, Chris, I'm a great speaker. And I'm like, all right, great. Do you want to get paid for that? And they say, yes. Well, if you want to get paid for things, again, it has to go back to how can you provide solutions for someone else's problems? That's how people get paid, whether it's a business person, a coach, a speaker. And so keep that in mind. I'm going to share with you how one client, he got back his money from investing in my program in just 2 days. It's all about taking action. He also became an online coach and made tens of thousands of dollars in just a few months with zero marketing dollars because we live in a world with all the social media. It's never been more possible to make a good living with a minimal investment early on because of the fact that we have all these tools of social media. You have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, all these different platforms that didn't even exist 5-10 years ago. So just keep in mind that even if you're not a very tech-savvy person, we all know how to push buttons, right? I mean, you know how to turn your laptop on, you know how to learn to turn that laptop off, you know how to learn to turn your phone on and off, but sometimes it really is as simple. So if you've never done a Facebook Live, for instance, you just go on Facebook and you literally type in or click in, go live. And so just know that it's never been more possible to do well making a living online. And it doesn't matter whether you know the internet or not. It's really, they make it as dummy proof as possible. Trust me, I don't really do well on computers, but if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. Another client of mine, he made $10 million in 4 years. And lastly, speaking is one of the most inspiring things to do because you get to inspire people, you get to make a difference. You also get to travel. In just the last few months, I've traveled about 40,000 miles around the world, been to about a dozen cities. I was in Toronto, in Alaska, I was in Australia, I was in Dallas and Austin, New York, Jamaica. So I've been to all these different places where I got to speak there and share some wisdom. And so just know that this isn't just about a paycheck. It's about how do you inspire people? There's so many things you can do in life. You can go to a job, come back and have that routine. But as a speaker, whether you want to do it part-time or full-time, it's never been more possible to speak and travel and to inspire the world and get paid for it. So if you watch until the end, you'll get immediate access to my course. It's over 15 years of experience. You get exclusive video content and access to a private membership site. It's all about continuity and support. When you look at flock of geese, they fly in a V formation because they get to the goal not just 1 or 2 or even 5% faster or even 50% faster. They get to the goal 71% faster. So when you're part of our membership group, it's really about having that accountability, and it's about being in that flock, that actual community. We have a global community where you can support each other. It's really important that you have that support. So who is this for? It's for coaches, consultants, speakers. It's for anyone that really wants to strike out on their own. I just had a new client last week. She's a psychiatrist and she's a trained doctor, and she's just so frustrated with her life at this point. Though she has a loving husband, she has loving kids, but she doesn't have time to even spend time with her husband and kids because she's always at her practice working with patients. And so she's excited to just share her knowledge in a more scalable platform where instead of trading her hours for money, she gets to create a training program online, eventually automated, where she can just start speaking and scaling her business online, where she can help people, which she wants to do, but also just spend more time with her family. So for the coaches and consultants that are out there, this is about really leveling up your game and being scalable. So you might already be a coach or consultant, but are you getting the price points you deserve? Are you getting paid $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for each speech? Are you getting paid $5, $10,000 per each client? So it's about, if you're already there doing what you want to love or doing what you love to do as a speaker or coach, then I want to help you level up and get to the next level. This is also for authors or aspiring authors who want to share their story with the world. I focus specifically on nonfiction because, like I said before, you have to offer solutions for someone's problems, but how amazing would it be for you to share your story and to get paid for it? This is also for sales and business development professionals. You know, the typical way that salespeople, whether you're a wealth manager, whether you're an insurance agent, whether you have any type of sales type of a job, it's always about, oh, okay, I'll go to an event, I'll get business cards. Maybe there's 500 people there. You get maybe 20, 30, 40 business cards. You go home, and realistically, what really happens? You know, those business cards just end up staying on your desk, gathering dust. That is a waste of time, a waste of money. What if you actually burned away that script, and instead of being just an attendee in front of those 500 people, you become a speaker? So a speaker is what I call a next level networker. It's one of the best ways to succeed as a salesperson or as an entrepreneur. And this is why. Imagine again, you're a speaker, you have a VIP badge, you get in for free, sometimes you get paid, but as soon as you walk on stage, all eyes are on you. And so when you have that ability to stay there on stage, you have the highest probability to get more clients, referrals, sales. If you want investors, if you want more fans and followers, it's the best way to network, because otherwise the alternative is, again, going to another networking event, getting more business cards, and they go nowhere. So as a speaker, it's one of the best ways. You might think they have to be a great speaker to actually be in these events as speakers, but it's really about the content. It's about the content that you provide. It's about you being a subject matter expert that you have and just owning it. It's really about a mindset. Dr. Carol Dweck once said that she wrote a book called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, and she really talked about how there's two basic people in life that succeed. The people that don't succeed are the ones that have a fixed mindset where they say, oh, you know, Chris, I'm not that good. I can't do this. I'm really short. I'm not smart enough. And then the growth mindset is, you know what, Chris, that's an interesting idea. I never thought about that. I've been to many, many, many networking events. I've met many people, but a lot of times the business was not there. So as a next level networker, as a speaker, that's a growth mindset where you can do it. And lastly, this webinar is for anyone who's an entrepreneur. You want to scale your business, you want to make millions, you want to make tens of millions of dollars. I've been fortunate enough since I worked at American Express, I've worked on multi-billion-dollar companies. When I left American Express, I started my own consulting firm where I've helped people whether they made 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. My last big client, he is up to about $200 million. And now I'm helping you. I want to help you make $100,000 or $500,000. But whatever price point or you want to offer, whatever revenue you want to generate, it's always still about how do you give back, how do you serve other people. And so this webinar is really for the entrepreneur in heart. If you're an employee that wants to get out on your own, this is also great for you. But it's really about, again, how do you provide solutions for someone's problem, and how do you go out there, travel, and inspire the world? It's all about service to other people. So let's review some common concerns that you might have. Common concerns. So if you want to get rich, just go ahead and buy lottery. And obviously, I'm being a bit sarcastic, but there really are no get rich quick schemes. It's really about understanding how rich people get rich. And this is why I wrote a book about networking with billionaires and executives, because if you've ever read that book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, it's one of the most well-known books in the world, where the guy on the right, Warren Buffett, actually has a funny story where he talks about how on his wall in his office, he does not have his college diploma on the wall. He does not have even his master's degree on the wall where he went to Columbia. He actually has a certificate, a public speaking certificate by Dale Carnegie on his wall, because that is what changed his life. And Dale Carnegie wrote the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. My book is really about how to win friends with influential people. Same concept, different market. So when you look at your life, think about if you do want to get rich, not just from a material standpoint, but just in a health standpoint, emotional standpoint, spiritual standpoint. It's about following the people that are doing what you want to do, which is why there really is no get rich quick scheme. And I stress that. This program is about not just motivation. I'm just very grateful that people say, man, Chris, you're really motivating. I've watched your Facebook Lives. I watched your YouTube videos. I saw you speak in person. You have this amazing energy, this intensity, this passion. And you know what? I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that the people find that they get motivated. But I also be very, very clear that you're going to learn the methodology. Motivation is great. Listening to certain videos, I do that all the time. But it's about the methodology, the step-by-step process. A car company like Tesla, Elon Musk might be inspiring, but the reason why he builds out cars, inspiring cars like Teslas, is because they have a methodology, they have a factory, they have machines to actually make their dreams into a reality. So keep that in mind. Now, anytime you see any testimonials, I've had many testimonials. I'm so grateful that we have 30 testimonials, and this program is only a few months old. You can check that out on YouTube. They're not typical, but it's just phenomenal that when you speak very clearly and concisely, people get results if you take actions. It's all about taking action. Again, you want to get rich quick, go buy a lottery ticket, because that's the chance of you getting rich quick. It's about step by step, day by day, week by week. It might be hard at times, but you can do it because, like I said before, I got paid $50 for my first speech. Now I charge $20,000. So keep that in mind. But the testimonials are amazing. It's a testament. I oftentimes have to get second and third testimonials because my clients keep getting more and more results. It's pretty amazing. Now, this is an investment in yourself. It's about how can you become a charismatic speaker? How can you become, as I mentioned before, a next level networker? And how can you become an online coach? It's, like I said, one of the best times in the world to be an entrepreneur and to be online with all these free social media resources like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube. It's just never been more possible to be an online entrepreneur. So what is this GPS? What is this GPS program? It stands for the Gifted Professional Speaker Program. It's an online program. It's the only one of its kind where we talk about not just how do you speak well, but how do you get paid to speak. It's a huge difference. If you want to learn how to speak well, join Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a great nonprofit. It's in all over the world, and that's a great way to learn how to speak well. But if you want to learn how to get paid to speak, you really have to understand from professional speakers who've done this a long time and in different categories. I see sometimes my competition, they might have spoken in a college setting or a nonprofit setting, but it's really about understanding all different types of ways to speak and get paid for that, whether you're speaking in a corporation, an association, a nonprofit, colleges, or healthcare. But since I worked in a corporate background at American Express, the people that make the most money are from the corporations. Keep that in mind. Whenever you are finding a program to help you out or coach, they can only coach you at the level that they're at. So since I spoke at American Express and I have worked at American Express at a very high level, developing global strategy, that's why clients that made $90 million could hire me at the time, because I had a global background at American Express. Now I want to help everyone else. I want to help the people making $50,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, because that is more fun and exciting to me, because those are the people that need the most help. So the GPS program is the quickest way for you to get from point A to point B. And the quickest way to do that is always to follow the footsteps of those people who've gone before you, which is why I love studying millionaires, which is why I love studying executives, which is why I love studying celebrities, because you have to create a celebrity brand. You know, if people don't know you, you'll never get the price points you deserve, because it's really about branding. And so the best way to follow your dreams is really to follow the footsteps of those who've gone before you. So my GPS, for short, that stands for GPS, but it really means the Gifted Professional Speaker Program, because you all have a gift. But if you want to be professional, if you want to speak for a living, you have to understand the branding part and the business side. Now, if you try to do this on your own without the GPS program, I mean, to be honest, it's like a recipe for failure, because I want to save you money. I want to save you time. I want to save you energy, because if you really want to get to point B on your own, you're going to waste a lot of time. And I waste a lot of time. I really, really, really wish that someone helped me get through my path. I really wish someone helped me understand how to do what I'm doing now, because it takes a lot of time. Even with my book, I wrote a book about networking. It took me 20 years to understand all these things, and I codified it into 20 very basic strategies. And so for you, based on 17 years of experience as a consultant and a speaker, it's really in the last 17 months actually, that I've built up this global brand after this book came out, when it became a number one bestseller. And it's really in about the last 7 months or so that I've built out this online training program, this GPS program, and we've already gotten some phenomenal results, which I'm so, so, so grateful for. So in today's free presentation, I'm going to invite you to this program where people are getting multiple clients and speaking deals all around the world. It's crazy that my inaugural presentation, actually my inaugural gifters, I call them gifters, they've already spoken at Farmers Insurance. Farmers Insurance is a Fortune 500 company, and I was able to get my gifters, the 6 inaugural gifters, to speak at Farmers Insurance in Beverly Hills. One of my clients recently spoke at Solar City. Maybe made Solar City as one of Elon Musk's companies, and other clients have spoken at Moody, a very successful credit company. I have clients that have spoken in Ireland and Hong Kong and Canada and Sweden and Brazil. It's just crazy how quickly people get results if they have a very clear methodology, if they know what to do, because I've given them a step-by-step process. You know, again, a lot of people that meet me and see my videos, they are very grateful for saying I'm very motivating, but I really stress that I'm grateful that you're motivated, but I want to help you understand the methodology of understanding how to be a speaker. And why am I doing this? I really, really, really believe Maya Angelou, who is Oprah Winfrey's former mentor. Maya Angelou has since passed away. She's a famous American poet, and she's done a lot of things in her life, but she is most well known for mentoring Oprah Winfrey. And Maya Angelou once said that when you learn, teach, when you get, give. When you learn, teach, when you get, give. You know, I really, really wish someone taught me this as I was starting out. And I mean, it's so difficult to do things on your own when you're starting out. And as a speaker, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of chutzpah. It takes a lot of clarity. It takes a lot of drive. And so I'm giving you the step-by-step process to understand how to do yourself. How do you go up there on stage and command an audience? And not just that, but how do you get paid for that? It's a very specific sales script you need. It's all about psychology and the science of persuasion. And so it's not enough to just learn how to speak well. It's not enough to know how to inspire people. It's about a sales process, because again, if you want to get paid, it's really about the business and the branding of speaking, which is what I focus on a lot. Now, this GPS program is a step-by-step process. As I mentioned before, I will motivate you, I'll encourage you, I'll inspire you, but I'm gonna give you the step-by-step process, the strategy, and the methodology for you to do this on your own. Now, we talked about, again, it's about being a global speaker, and it's about creating an online platform, an online business platform. When I say online platform, you might have heard of a company called Udemy, udemy.com. They have 20,000 instructors offering 45,000 classes in 100 plus countries. They recently raised, when I read recently, about $100 million, and they have about 15 million students. Another online training platform is called Lynda, Lynda.com. They're also an online training platform, and they recently sold to LinkedIn for $1.5 billion. As one of our gifters in our program once said, that you are not a company. You don't have a company unless you can sell it. So keep that in mind. I mean, you have all the examples of people that are making a lot of money online, and it's about creating a platform, a system, a process to impact more people. Because like I said, it's always about how do you impact more people. So two types of people in the public speaking realm. Those that focus on speaking well, those that say, oh, Chris, your program looks really interesting, but I'm going to first focus on how to speak better. I'm like, look, you don't have to be a great speaker to get paid as a speaker. And they sometimes have a very difficult time understanding that, which is why I give them three very specific examples. I know Elon Musk. I had a great chance to interview Elon Musk for a half hour and asked him about success. I convinced him to come to the worst part of town in LA, and I had a chance to interview him. You can just Google me, Christopher Kai and Elon Musk. You can check out that interview. It's one of my proudest moments because most people will say you were crazy, Christopher Kai, can think that you can actually bring someone like Elon Musk, who's created 6 companies, most well known for PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX. But I say this because he's not a great speaker. Objectively speaking, he's a bit awkward. He uses fillers. He's kind of boring and mundane, but he's one of the most inspiring people I've ever met in my life because he has content. He has 6 companies. He's worth about $13 billion. He wants to change the world. And so he's an inspiring person. Next, you have Eckhart Tolle. Some of you may have heard of him from his, I think it's called the Power of Now and the New Earth. And I saw him speak one time at an Oprah Winfrey event, and Oprah Winfrey, to introduce Eckhart Tolle, said, and next we have up the Mick Jagger of spirituality. And as I was watching him speak, he speaks like this in a very monotone voice, and he says things in a loop and it rhymes, and he's talking about existentialism and questions. And I'm like, you know what? I literally fell asleep to what Oprah said was the Mick Jagger of spirituality. I don't doubt that he has great content. I don't doubt that his books are great. I read some of his books and I love the content. I'll bet it's more of like a westernized version of Buddhism, but nonetheless, it's great content. But I'm saying from a speaker standpoint, he's not a great speaker. Lastly, Stephen Hawking, the guy is an astrophysicist, often compared with the Isaac Newtons and the Einsteins of the world, and he can't even speak. He can't barely move. So whenever I hear people saying, Chris, I gotta speak better, I gotta focus on speaking better, I'm like, you know what? If you join my program, I'll tell you the 6 specific key elements to be a great speaker. All you need is 6 specific key elements. And they get shocked because, I'm really, Chris? I'm like, yeah, I wish someone told me that when I first started 17 years ago, but they don't, because they don't have the ability to extrapolate things. They don't have the ability to what they call thin slice things. And so in my case, that I've spoken over 1,000 times, I'm giving the 6 key things you need as a great speaker. But I stress that if you want to get paid to speak, it's about the business and branding side. And I gave you 3 very specific examples of 3 people that easily can charge $100,000, or Eckhart Tolle probably charges at least $50,000. But it's about learning the business side of speaking. You might be thinking, well, I want to learn how to speak well. Like I said, you don't have to learn. You have to learn how to speak well, but you don't have to learn how to be like the best speaker in the world. It's about the content. It's about your substance. It's about the subject matter expertise you have. Now, but what does that matter if you're not getting paid for it to do it? Like I said, it's all about staying focused on the business and branding side. And I'll say one final thing about this. 99% of speakers will never get paid, even $1, because they don't offer solutions for someone's problem. When you look at life, the 4 main buckets that most people get paid for as a speaker, it comes down to either you're going to help someone make more money, whether in a career or a business. You're going to help people improve their relationships, like what I do. I wrote a book about networking with billionaires and executives. So I help my clients who are wealth managers and insurance brokers and realtors especially, help them find more premium clients. You help people ideally with their health. I have many clients. One of our clients, Eric and Chris, they have an online training program where they're part of our GPS program. They've helped over 1,000 clients with their fitness. And lastly, more of the general bucket list, which is more of this lifestyle or happiness type of thing where you help people live a better lifestyle. So those are really the 4 main buckets of how you help people, whether helping them make money, helping them with their health, helping them with their relationships, or this general happiness type thing. But the reason why 99% of people won't make money is because they don't focus on their solutions for their clients. They focus on themselves. They focus on their own story. Now, I'll bet stories are 22 times more memorable than facts, but it's how you phrase your story and how you capture the solution within your story that people want to learn more about. Now, I want to give you some recent results. And again, the program is quite new. It's only been around for 6 or 7 months, but even in that short amount of time, we've already gotten some massive results, and it's insane. It's really so inspiring to see these types of results so quickly. So here is Jesse, one of our clients in Canada, and he made back his investment in just 2 days, okay? So when people say, you know what, Chris, how quickly can I make back my money? Well, Jesse made back his investment in 2 days. So it's just so inspiring to know that you can do well that quickly. So this is what Jesse had to say.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Loader, and I run a real estate team and a coaching program up here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I've recently taken the Gifted Professional Speakers program through Christopher Kai. And in just over a month or so, I was able to secure 10 coaching clients through advice from Christopher Kai. And all of it was free. I never had to pay to generate any of that business. And Christopher has been instrumental in getting my online coaching program off of the ground. So if you're interested in the Gifted Professional Speakers program, I highly suggest you sign up, and it's done wonders for me.
So again, Jesse made back his money in 2 days, and within the first month, he secured 10 clients, and I believe he charges $2,000 to $3,000. So again, those who take my action steps that I told them, those who actually take action and they don't think too much, it's all about being concise, specific, and clear, confident what you do. In Jesse's case, he comes to me and says, hey, Chris, I want to start an online coaching program. I'm like, great. And he wasn't sure what to talk about. I'm like, well, Jesse, you've done well online, right? He's like, yes. I'm like, well, he's been able to make $100,000 in just a few months. And so how many realtors that just start out want to make $100,000 in 3 months? It's like a lot. I'm like, great. So he's offering, as I mentioned before, a solution for someone's problem. He helps realtors make at least $100,000 in a short amount of time. And so he has a very specific goal. He's a good guy. He's very confident, but he's also very compassionate. And so this is a specific case where in just 2 days, when he says he paid nothing, he obviously invested in my program. But when he said he paid nothing to advertise it, because I told him step by step, how do you go about writing the copy, what free website to go to actually create the copy, and when you post it, where to post it, and how to have a call to action. So these are very specific things from a sales standpoint. In Jesse's case, 2 days, made back his investment in my program. Within a month, secured 10 clients. This is so insane and crazy, but it's all about being specific. Remember, I wish I had someone tell me that concisely. Most people, they want to drag it along. I don't want to drag anything along. You're a busy person. You're a busy man or woman. I know you have a life. I know you have all these different things you want to do. You don't want to be just sitting around looking at a program. Of course, the program is the foundation, but it's really about taking action. You have another client of mine. This is Adam. This is what Adam had to say.
So Adam has been part of my program for some time now. And every time I talk to the guy, he's like, Chris, I got on a paid speech. Chris, I'm going to China. Chris, I'm on my, how many, your 6th speech now, I think?
Yeah, I would say at least.
Crazy. So first, just share with the audience, Adam, who you are and your company so that they know context of who you are.
Absolutely. So I am a financial advisor located here in Century City and Beverly Hills. That's my primary market. In working with Chris, I've learned to, let's say, brand and be and reach to be more. So after working with Chris and through this process, I've done things such as writing a book. So Money Matters, 21 Practical Lessons for Everyday Success. And I have marketed myself successfully as a speaker, due in large part to you, your coaching, your mentoring, and also your program.
So again, it's just so inspiring to see Adam and all of our clients do really well. And he's moving toward that 6-figure mark. And again, this is in a matter of months. And he's already spoken in 6 cities and 3 countries. And it's insane. I mean, he just closed another 5-figure keynote speech. And so it is possible to do it quickly as long as you have this credentials and the branding and the bio that I teach you and coach you on. That's a big thing in our program. It's all about the branding and the business side. Here we have another client. These are the people I mentioned before, Chris and Eric, who have an online training program, and they've coached over 1,000 clients in the fitness space. So fitness trainers, you think you need a gym and you need to actually see them, but in Chris and Eric's case, they did not. Excuse me for that. Let me backtrack.
We are
are identical twins. My name's Eric. This is Chris Martinez. And yeah, our story really kind of comes from, we lost our father when we were 18 years old, 13 years ago. And we went through a lot of adversity. And what kind of got us through that adversity was, actually weight training and, fitness. So that's kind of what inspired us to become online coaches, personal trainers, lifestyle personal development coaches. And that is pretty much what our back story is. But after that, we met Chris through his program. He's been a dear friend, a mentor. This guy's amazing. We want to be a part of his vision and help him.
How amazing am I, Chris? Keep talking.
Man, I can go on for days. I can do a whole
this book.
Powerful content in that book. But yeah, we joined Chris's GPS program probably about 4 months ago, and it's amazing. We spoke at a Fortune 500 company. We're featured in Inc., Forbes, Huffington Post right now. We're actually speaking at a big nutrition conference in Phoenix in June. So it has benefited us so much and really gotten us out there. And it's really taught us how to position ourselves and help our branding and make us stand out from all the noise out there.
Awesome. Again, it's just so important that if you really want to have higher price points, you have to establish your brand, and you don't need a publicist anymore. You just need to know very specific websites and specific sources and resources that you can get the results you need with a minimal amount of investment. So that was Chris and Eric's testimonial. I'll share one final testimonial. This is Jeremy. Excuse me. Again, I'll share one final testimonial. This is Jeremy.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm here at my own yacht mastermind right now that I'm hosting. My name is Jeremy Haynes. I'm somebody who's helped build up Greg Cardone's digital personality. I've taken him from tens of thousands to a couple million on a month-to-month basis. Of course, the help of his whole company and myself included. That being said, I've transitioned into being an agency owner. We specialize in personality brand development. We consistently help drive recurring revenue for companies, but I'm also a speaker to drive attention to my business. And constantly, as an entrepreneur, I'm 22. As a 22-year-old entrepreneur, I have to look to the absolute best in the industry that are killing it, that have experience, that I can seek counsel in, not just the opinion, but counsel who have done it, who can teach me the ways that I need to go in order to be a winner. And one of the people who's done that for me is Christopher Kai. The reason I'm even making this testimonial is because I just had a $10,000 deal get landed. I get to go speak in Bulgaria, and I get to go speak, I believe it's in front of Microsoft, out in Bulgaria, all because of the techniques that I've learned from Mr. Christopher Kai. I never would have been able to do this on my own. It's put me in a position where I now have confidence to get more of those speaking engagements. And I'm actually going to speak with him today about how I can charge more than 10, because now I feel undersold since I've been able to sell one. So anyway, apply what you actually learned from this guy. It's counsel, not opinion. You can win with counsel.
Again, I'm just so grateful that we get so many results, whether you're younger, older, it doesn't matter. It's about understanding the strategy and methodology to get what you deserve. It's all about the branding side of things. So here's how you can get results using the same GPS program, okay? Now, why is today's culture perfect for the public speaking industry? I mean, like I said before, I think a lot of people never thought they can actually be a speaker because you have to have a certain pedigree, you have to write a book, and writing a book definitely does help, but you can just go out there. It's all about having that sense of presence. It's really just having that sense of substance and solution, that it's all about a mindset. Before I wrote a book, I was already speaking. So it's really about, as long as you keep focusing on the solutions of someone's problem, you'll be able to get paid for your speaking skills. And when I say Wi-Fi anyone, and I'm going to be going to New York and Barcelona soon. And so as long as there's Wi-Fi, I have my smartphone and my computer, I can speak and work anywhere in the world. So for you, just make sure you know that, whether you're getting paid on the front end, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, or when you go there, maybe they just pay for your travel, but you actually get paid on the back end, whether selling your consulting programs or you have consultant packages. But the bottom line is, whether I'm getting paid on the front end or the back end or both, sometimes I get to go there and people hire me and they pay me 5-6 months before I even speak or step on stage. That's the most official way to do it. And I get there, I end up selling my books there, and I end up selling my programs, and people like it too, So as I mentioned before, it's never been more possible to be an online entrepreneur. And we are literally living in the new gold rush because the online training space is $107 billion. Now, I repeat these things because you may know this or may not know this, but based on science, we forget 50% of what we learn in an hour. we forget 80% in a month. So chances are many of the things I say in this webinar, you might forget, but I want to constantly ingrain and remind you that it's a massive opportunity. If you're not online, you're missing out on millions of dollars. If you're not positioning yourself as a speaker, you're missing out on massive opportunities, what I call next level opportunities. And there's so many unlimited digital tools that you can use to get paid. I mean, there's different revenue streams, 9 specific revenue streams, which you'll learn in my program. And when you look at people, like I said, who are doing well or have done well in the past, it's about modeling what they've done. You look at someone like a John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller is the most successful entrepreneur in human history. John D. Rockefeller is most known for his Standard Oil, but did you know that he, aside from his oil company, had 9 real estate companies, had 6 steel companies, had 6 steamboat or steamship companies, had 9 banks or financial houses, and he even had 2 orange groves. Now again, 9 real estate companies, 6 steel, 6 steamship companies, 9 bank or financial houses, and 2 orange groves. But when you add up all those things, he had 32 revenue streams outside of his oil company, right? So how many of us have more than 1 revenue stream? So just know that as a speaker, just on the most basic level, as a speaker traditionally, you either get paid as a speaker, you can sell a book, which is another revenue stream, and even the travel expense. Sometimes the travel expense itself can be thousands of dollars. So just keep in mind that there's so many different ways to monetize. And in my program, you'll learn at least 9 different revenue streams, both online and offline. Now, why learn professional speaking from me? Again, you can learn public speaking from Toastmasters. You can learn by always doing things, but it's really about the professional side, which is about branding and business. And so my program has been featured on Forbes, not just once, but twice. This is based on 16 years of experience. And again, I've been given over 1,000 presentations to global audience from 30 countries. I'm just very blessed and grateful that all the stuff that I'm doing, as I mentioned before, I've gotten my clients to do too. I've gotten multiple clients to speak at Fortune 500 companies. Clients send me testimonials from Sao Paulo. Another guy just got a gig in Ireland. You know, I'm getting so many testimonials that I'm just so happy and excited that I don't even have time to post these testimonials because we're going to grow exponentially. And the reason why my program is so different from other programs, as I mentioned to you before, I'm a corporate guy. I used to work for American Express. And the corporations have the biggest budgets, and therefore I understand their talk. I understand their vernacular. I understand the dialogue. When I meet a lot of these coaches and consultants, you know, they say they want to teach you how to speak better. Primarily, it's on the speak to sell stage, which is you go on stage. You might not get paid to be on that stage. You might have to even sponsor them. You might have to pay someone else to get on that stage where you're in front of a few hundred people or a few thousand people, and then you sell your program. Well, in my case, since I have worked at corporations, I've spoken at corporations like American Express and Google, I know how to talk their talk. And that's one of the biggest differences in terms of the other programs that you'll see in the speaker training space and my program, because I'm a corporate guy through and through, born and raised in New York City. I started working in my uncle's insurance company when I was 12, bought my stock when I was 14. By my mid-20s, I had already started my first company, became a professional speaker, bought my first apartment on the 18th floor of a luxury high-rise. And as I mentioned before, I was already developing global sales strategies for American Express on 40 Wall Street. And one of the coolest things, that kind of like my speed to cool is what one of my colleagues said, I wrote a speech for the former vice chairman and CFO of American Express. I wrote a speech one time when I was in my mid-20s, and the former vice chairman of American Express read it at a function that I was organizing with my colleagues. And it's the coolest thing to know that even in my 20s, this man of stature, this man of success, this man of authority, one of the most powerful persons in the world, read my speech verbatim. So again, I understand the technology side of the online space, but I understand the technical words to use, just how to share your story with corporations that they can hire you. I've had speaking bureaus reach out to me, which is pretty amazing, but the demand is so high. And again, I focus on the business side, not about just the how do you speak well, it's about how do you get paid to speak well, which is about branding. It's so important. I can't stress that enough. Your branding dictates your price points. If you were to Google me, whether you know me or not, you'll see me speaking at Google. You'll see me alongside Richard Branson and Bill Clinton, former President Clinton. You'll see me with rock stars like not rock stars, well, celebrities like Adrian Ganea from Entourage, the HBO show, and rock stars like Lenny Kravitz. But it's really about, that's my life. And when I talk about networking with billionaires and executives and celebrities, they need to see that. So just because you say you're a great speaker, just because you're an author, all this stuff is good, but you'll only get the price points you deserve if someone else can validate that. Someone can verify that online, on YouTube. They have to Google you and you have to create a brand. That's what I help my clients with. And lastly, Inc. Magazine has written about me after I wrote my book called Big Game Hunting, Networking with Billionaires, Executives, and Celebrities, and they referred me as the billionaire networker. So here's the thing. You want to start now? This is the best time. So many times people say they want to wait. They don't know, they're hesitant, and we all have doubts at times, but really, you have 2.5 million reasons why you should start now. 2.5 million reasons are the number of people who passed away last year in the US, according to CDC. So since we have a global program, we're already in 55 plus cities and 11 countries and 4 continents. So in the US, if there's 2.5 million people, then in the globe, I'm sure there's tens of millions of people who have passed away. So how many of those people wish they were listening to this webinar right now? How many people wish they had this opportunity? How many people wish they can be watching this slideshow, seeing their future, envisioning their future right now, but unfortunately they're not alive? And so you have to remember, you don't have all the time in the world. Steve Jobs, in his Epiphanous speech when he spoke at Stanford University over 10 years ago, he said, stay hungry and stay foolish, where he talked about how, you know what? You have to embrace death. You have to embrace the fact that we're all going to die one day. I don't want to get morbid on you, but it's about recognizing that you should start now. You have the knowledge already, but if you want to start a profitable speaking and online coaching business, you have to find the right guidance, or as my friend and client Jeremy said, you have to seek the right counsel. You know, I teach you how to pinpoint the right topic so people can pay you for it. Again, going back to, you have to provide solutions for someone's problem, and you'll just have that much more impact, that much more client, that much more income stream, and you'll start living the lifestyle you live. Like I said before, I've already traveled 40,000 miles in just the last few months. Maybe you want to travel less, maybe you want to travel more, but you can travel wherever you want. As long as you have Wi-Fi and internet, you're good. And it's an unsaturated market in that the self-help space and the online training space, it's essentially recession-proof. Whether you're making a lot of money or not in the economy, people still always want to learn to improve. So just know, as I said before, the historical lesson is you look at all generations, whether the gold rush in the 1860s, whether the roaring 20s in the US, whether post-World War II in the 1950s and 60s, whether the computer revolution in the 80s and the 90s, you know, it's about recognizing that the internet has only really been around for about 20 years with Amazon and all these other platforms, and even things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all plus or minus 10 years. And so that's why you might know of these things, but I don't know if you know how possible and feasible it is to make money from these things, even if you're not a Facebook guru. And trust me, I am not. I'm definitely not. And so here's a quick overview. The program is divided into 5 very specific modules with 32 videos, where I teach you how do you make that 6 or 7 figures, and how do you inspire people, how do you travel the world. Since my program is for global speakers, or to help them become global speakers, we already have about 5 or 6 millionaires already in our group because of the fact that they see that I have this skill set to teach them how to speak. So we have one guy who has made tens of millions of dollars in real estate. We have psychiatrists. We have another guy who retired in his 30s. He used to work for these large financial companies. But what I'm saying is, you're already coming in this community with already a big skill set, because I'm teaching them how to become a global speaker and position themselves. And so unlike a lot of other programs, they're all starting at the same level. They're all trying to get from $50,000 to $100,000 or $500,000 to $1 million. And in my case, I'm telling you, we already have established millionaires, but they want to learn how to speak. They want to learn how to brand themselves, and they want to learn how to create an online coaching program because it's scalable. You know, you can focus your time on doing things that you want to do. You can delegate the things that you don't want to do. But most importantly, the whole uncharted trends part is the automation. So much of this stuff in life is automated now. And so it just allows you to free up more time. So it's a step-by-step process, 150 pages, but the way that I talk is how I coach, which is concisely, specifically, and confidently. And so you're not going to get a lot of fluff from me. And lastly, we have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, where again, it's about support. We got a flock of geese get to the goal 71% faster, A flock of geese get to the goal 71% faster when they go in a V formation, because they honk at each other. That updraft allows the person behind them to have more of an updraft. They share the leadership, and they're constantly encouraging each other. And so our Facebook group is for that. It's for 6 months, and this is a great resource to have. The specific modules are broken down into the 5 basic questions, which is, why are you the best person to share your story and to help your clients out? What will you talk about? Again, going back to the topic, you have to understand what topic, the specific solution you're sharing for someone's problem. It's not just about sharing your story, it's about sharing what solution do you have for someone's problem. That's really key. Who's your client? You have to understand what your demographic is. When someone asks me who my client is, I'll tell them point blank. Most of my clients are entrepreneurs. They're coaches, they're consultants, they're speakers, they're authors. In terms of industries, you have wealth managers, you have realtors, you have insurance brokers, but really anyone in a sales or business development role, anyone that goes to networking events to find more clients, they are my clients. And so I teach you again, what are your ideal clients? What's your topic? Where do you find these clients for module 4? And lastly, the secret sauce is the persuasion part, the communication part. When you talk to someone on the phone or in person or email, it's a different thing. It's what I call the PI of communication. PI stands for in person, phone, or email. And so it's about understanding how you can go about leveraging the sales scripts and the email templates that I've created for you, whether on LinkedIn or Facebook or just in an email form, to help you get the results you want. There's a reason why Jesse, as he mentioned before, got back his money in 2 days, because I gave him the exact type of copy to use to go about closing those clients. So I always keep things simple. I'm not here to make you work harder. I'm here to make you work smarter. And that's really, really important. Instead of spending 10 hours on something, I want you to spend less than 1. And more importantly, I'd rather you be acting 10 times more than just thinking and reading and studying. It's about taking action. So I am just always so grateful that every single day, every single week, every single month, I'm getting more and more messages from people from around the world saying that they just spoke here, they're speaking there, they're getting paid this much. And the immediacy of the results was just always so inspiring, because it's just, whether from the motivation part, as I mentioned to you, it's great, but it's really about the methodology of them getting paid, traveling the world, and really becoming a better speaking coach all the time. It's just a very phenomenal experience to be able to share. And I'm grateful to have these constant experiences of all these different testimonials. Here's another testimonial. This is from Dragana. She is already past the 5 figures mark, and this has only been a few months.
Hi, this is Dragana, and I want to give a shout out to Christopher Kai and the GPS program. Investing in the GPS program was one of the best investment decisions that I have made, and taking the advice and everything he has taught me and implementing it has allowed me to add an extra 5 digits, and I'm moving to 6 digits in terms of my income. So go Christopher, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned from you and everything I've implemented. It has changed my life.
So again, Dragana is an example of someone, at first, she was really motivated. She's actually a former professional tennis player and used to work with Nestle, graduated from UC Berkeley. And she has all this amazing passion and compassion and heart. And so I helped her literally from the first day that she was a bit cautious and nervous and timid to even do a Facebook Live. And for those of you who may or may not know, Facebook Live is just live streaming. When you get on Facebook, I'm telling you, it's easier than you think. You get on Facebook and there's literally an icon with a camera. You click on the icon and you go live. And in Dragana's case, she lives in Los Angeles. I live in Beverly Hills. So I walked her through it. I was there for her first Facebook Live a few months ago. And from that first Facebook Live that she was a bit timid and scared, she had not 1 or a few hundred views. She had 3,000 views on her first Facebook Live. And she got hundreds and hundreds of other Facebook friends that wanted to add her just on that one Facebook Live. And she at one point did 100 days straight of Facebook Lives. It's just so insane. And now she just came back from Dubai and she signed up a new client there. And so when I see people like Dragana, she's created her online coaching program from scratch, created an online training program from scratch. And online coaching is more of like a one-on-one or a group coaching. And then online training is what you'll see with mine. It's a little bit more planned out and it's more like modules based and more content. But in Dragana's case, she has online coaching, online training, and she spoke recently in Dallas for over 400 or 500 people as a keynote speaker. But for her to be able to travel to Dubai, and I think she's also booking a trip to Europe, she has that flexibility. And again, she started from scratch just a few months ago. It's just been in the last year that she's been having all this progress because she applied the knowledge and the skill sets that I coached her on. Even in the first week, she got 2 speeches, but it's been a few months now, and she's already speaking around the world. And it was just in Dubai, like I said, and closed a client there. So it's just so inspiring to see all these clients doing these amazing things with their life. Here's another client of mine, Eric. I met Eric a few years back.
So Chris Guy helped me significantly get started with my business 2 years ago, helped me kind of learn how to network, really introduced me to some initial people that became my first clients for my marketing consultancy, which I was just me 2 years ago. Took a lot of what he taught me, really use that network. They helped me get started and then use the methodology and everything to really grow it to the point that now we're 25 people, on track to do 2.5 million in the second year of business, all through really just a platform of a meeting that started with Chris.
Now, here's the thing. That was shot about 2 years ago. And now I recently spoke to Eric, and now he's at $10 million in his fourth year. And so again, the GPS program has been around for about 7-8 months now, but I've been coaching for a while. So the methodology that you're going to learn, that Eric learned from me with my book, because you're going to get a free book later on if you join up my program, it's the same methodology that you're going to learn for yourself. It's all about, you have to shoot high. It's about what Michelangelo once said, that the greatest danger for most of us is not that we aim too high and miss it, we aim too low and reach it. We reach the goals that we set for ourselves because we're not aiming high enough. In Eric's case, I connected him with certain clients, and his client at the time grossed about $100 million, and Eric was able to secure him as a client because I made the intro. And so these are the type of introductions that you have to understand how to make. And when you do sign up for my program, you'll get my free book, the Amazon #1 bestseller book called Big Game Hunting, Networking with Billionaires, Executives, and Celebrities. It's just always so exciting and inspiring to see all these people that are making so much money, but making so much impact, which is so important. So when you join my program, here's a quick preview. I've already shared a bunch of things with you, but we're so grateful that you have been following us along on this webinar for about 50 minutes now. And so here's a quick preview, which I've already shared with you. It's really about how to use free resources like Facebook Live to generate $25,000 in 2 months, or tens of thousands of dollars per speech. As I mentioned to you, Adam just closed another 5-figure plus speech. And how do you inspire people? It's never been more possible to inspire people in the world. I could be sitting in my home office in Beverly Hills, staring at my computer screen, and have 500 people from 30 countries. Anyone can do this, okay? I gave an interview one time for a guy named Nick, and he has a company where he really wants to help people. And in that one YouTube video, that one interview, there are 230,000 people that watched that one interview. Or let's say I'm a Huffington Post contributor. There's 100+ million people, or 100+ million views every month. So even if you have not many followers right now on Instagram or Twitter or any of those things, it's about when you start going and getting involved and getting featured on Forbes and LinkedIn and on Inc. magazine, as Chris and Eric did, that's when you really can inspire millions of people online and offline. It's never been possible because there's so many people out there that are not utilizing the online world. They're not understanding how to market themselves digitally, and it's really important. Again, it goes back to being recognized as an expert. I'm an expert in branding, in sales, and networking because I've built up all the skill set given that I did work in American Express. And even after I left American Express, if you Google Spaghetti Warehouse song, for instance, that was a viral song that went globally, where I developed the 40th annual national campaign for the Spaghetti Warehouse brand of restaurants, where my CEO client hired me for branding and biz dev and sales and marketing. And I suggested to him, hey, if you want to build out a more stronger brand for the millennial, you might want to create a really cool hip song. And so he said, go. And I brought on a team because I actually used to be a singer-songwriter for over 10 years. I've written hundreds of songs. And so if you Google Spaghetti Warehouse song, that song went viral and went from New York to Dubai. They had parodies on YouTube, and there was a contest that we created. And I believe AV Club and BuzzFeed, one of them said that we're the best song of the internet and the best song of the summer. So it's about understanding how do you create a press-worthy brand. Whether in my case, I created a song and a campaign and a platform where Spaghetti Warehouse, they had the most views, most click-throughs in the history of their 40 years based on the campaign. So it's about the branding that I'm teaching you is from experience, not some guy who talks about the garage or some couch. It's really about how I have built this company over the 17 years, and you're getting the last 17 months and really the last 7 months of this really specific, granularized, crystallized gems of knowledge. And so really just please utilize this, because I really wish someone else had that from me. And lastly, it's about how do you write a one-of-a-kind bio. You want to write a bio that's so specific and so unique that only you can write that. So when I meet people, unfortunately, they'll say, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. Big deal. Everyone's a speaker, coach, and consultant, right? How do you stand out? In my case, I can say I'm a global speaker. I've given over 1,000 presentations. I've spoken at Fortune 100 companies. And these are the branding tools that I share with you. And let me give you a very specific example. One of our clients is a chef. Great, right? He's a chef. He wants to create an online program to help people eat healthier. But he didn't mention that he went to this very prestigious school for the culinary arts, which is really important to establish that credibility. He didn't mention the fact that he's been doing this for a long time. He didn't mention that he segued from from the military guy to being a chef, so that he had the courage to switch gears and transition. And he didn't also mention that he used to be an air traffic control team leader. So he has all this experience where you might think that that doesn't apply to his current role as a chef or building out a program, but it does, because wouldn't you want to have someone that has commitment, has clarity, who served their countries? So he was in the former Air Force, he was in the Air Force and the Marines. But what I'm saying is that builds other credibility. Just like before with Dragana, she didn't even mention the fact that she was a former professional tennis player, or that she worked at Nestle. But I'm like, look, wouldn't you want to learn from someone that does transformational programs where she changes your life around, but has a skill set, professionalism as a professional tennis player, and understood the corporate world? Of course you do, right? So I teach you how to write that bio, and that's the most foundational thing, and it's really important. It sounds simple, but if you don't stand out by the words you use and the stories you share, you will not be successful in your branding. So other benefits, you will have that Facebook, as I mentioned to you, that birds of a feather flock together. You'll have referral income from these potential people you meet, these gifters I call, because we all have a gift to share. There's all these practical role-playing sessions that I do with some of these Facebook Live calls. And again, these are proven online and offline sales scripts that I've used to get paid and my clients have used to get paid. I'll show you how to get featured on all these various outlets, Forbes, Facebook, not Facebook, but Fox and ABC. And again, how do you create an online coaching program in a matter of an hour, perhaps? And how do you create an online training program? And the difference really is this. An online coaching program can be a month or 2 or 3 months long. It could just be an online coaching call, a group coaching call. An online training program, as I mentioned before, there's more modules based, and it's a more of a step-by-step process. And so it's just much more possible. I mean, it happens more quickly than you might think. And lastly, you have the benefit of having more vacation spots. Right now we have gifters. We're closing on 100 people in the first year, and they're already in 55 cities and 11 countries and 4 continents. And our goal is to have 1,000 gifters in the next 2 years in at least 100 countries and 500 cities, so that we're going to have all these different access points. And did you know that your network is the #1 best predictor for career success? Your network is the #1 best predictor for career success. And that's based on network science by a guy named Ron Burt. I read an article in Forbes one time where they talked about how this guy, Ron Burt, studied network science. And so you can always say, oh yeah, I know, Chris, that networking is important. But if I wrote a book about that, if it's a #1 bestseller, if it's based on network science, and I'm helping you build out this community that you have already established, people that about 10% of our current gifters are already millionaires, you're going to learn from them, because you cannot be a millionaire, you cannot be a speaker, you cannot be a coach if you don't surround yourself with people. The easiest thing you need to do is this. All you need to do is take out your smartphone right now. Go ahead, pick out your smartphone. And let's say you only had 100 contacts in your smartphone. If you want to be a millionaire, you say, Chris, I want to be a millionaire, right? I'm like, okay, of course you do, right? Well, if you know 0 millionaires on your phone, then you have a 0% chance of being a millionaire. And if you took my phone, you have an 88% chance of being a millionaire, because every single person on my phone, if I only had 100 people, boiled down from letters, 88% of them. And if you took out Z, Q, and Y, it'd be 100%. What I'm saying is, all you have to do is look at your phone to decide and determine how successful you'll be. I'm building out this community for you so that you already have this community of established millionaires. Some of them are established millionaires. Some of them are psychiatrists. Some of them has been in the Air Force for 17 years. We just signed on someone last week who built out he's an expert in artificial intelligence. We have clients in Australia who created the first disposable diaper. We have a client in Montreal who created a nonprofit in 45 countries. Now, again, we have more established people like that, but we also have a young woman in Sweden called Shazad who built out who coaches people on networking, because as a millennial, she's a pioneering millennial entrepreneur. And so she helped millennials find jobs through networking. She just actually gave a speech in Sweden to one of the top sales conferences in the world. And mind you, she's in her early 20s, okay? So keep in mind that we have all these benefits for you, waiting for you when you sign up for our program. Other benefits is, like I said before, you really don't have to spend that much money, at least early on. Of course, when you scale any business, you have to start dropping more money on marketing. But early on, you can make back your money fairly quickly, as Jesse did. And you can do fairly well, tens of thousands of dollars, without spending much money on marketing if you use the social media platforms, the main ones, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube. Again, utilize these free resources. This was not possible 10, 20 years ago. Some of them are five years goes less. But other benefits will be also, how do you stand out 22 times more, which again, stories are 22 times more memorable. And again, I mentioned this before, you have access to a global community. You already have 5 millionaires in our group and all these people that are somewhat established in their field. Now, what's the value of all this? As I mentioned before, I charge $20,000 per speech. And so the value is the fact that if I spent all this time building up a skill set and a brand to charge $20,000 per speech, you get to learn that. You get to learn how to speak to sell on stage. You get to learn how to be an expert. And you really get to stay on top of your competition by understanding the latest strategies, because things change so quickly. So quickly that if Snapchat really blew up because they have these messages that delete, and Instagram, they have all these stories. So like Snapchat has stories and Instagram has stories, and then surprise, surprise, Facebook owns Instagram. So now Facebook has their own stories too. So this is constantly changing. The whole Facebook Live, I think that only started about 2 years ago. So if you don't even know about Facebook Live, a live streaming service, you're already behind. But I had clients that made back tens of thousands of dollars. Even for myself, I made back tens of thousands of dollars in the first few months of my program because I used Facebook Live, because essentially you're like an Oprah. You have your own show now. You're Dr. Phil, you're Oprah. People see you front and center on your own show. And so the value is hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're getting from this value, because I've been doing this as a consultant for 17 years, as a coach, as a speaker. But it's really in the last 17 months, that I built up this global brand because of my book that went #1. I mean, the rankings changed literally every hour. But for a few days last year, I hit #1. And if you hit #1 for a day or even for an hour, you're #1 bestseller. And so just knowing that brand that I created, I'm teaching you how to create your own brand. When you join now, you get my free book, as I mentioned to you before. Just go on Amazon, look at all the reviews. We have 4.9 stars, 53 reviews. It's only been about, I think about 10 months now. And you'll get 3 networking tips that you can learn directly from Elon Musk, because I met him before and I learned a lot of things from him, but 3 specific things from networking. And you also get 4 proven time management techniques for personal and business growth. I actually wrote a book called The 1% That Counts, Find More Time for Your Bucket List. And I'm going to share with you 4 basic things that this book is based on, because so many people want to do more, but they don't know how. And so I give you that as an extra bonus. Another extra bonus is, since I've had various private coaching calls and some group calls at times, I offer that as a bonus sometimes. So you'll get more than 10 hours of video in my free video vault, whether you don't know how to write a bio, or you don't know how to structure an 1-hour speech, or how do you have a simpler way to create an online coaching program, or what are some of the elements. Now, granted, many of these things are already in my actual 5 modules with those 32 videos that are very concise. If you all want to dive even deeper, you have over 10 hours of video content in my free video vote. This is bonus for you, so you can understand how to determine your speaker fee. You can understand how to build more followers, because again, your Facebook should be a lead generation. Your Facebook should be a way to get prospects. I was able to get more than 1,000 new friends, and a lot of them are just prospects because I want to help people. And I also talk about how do you get through some sales objections, because it's not enough to share a story. It's not enough to have a great program, a great personality. It's about understanding the sales side. And sales is really about psychology. It's about understanding what people want and need, and how you provide solutions for their problems. And lastly, how do you choose a speech topic? So all these things, if you like it, great. I wish you well. It's a 30-day warranty. If you don't like it, go ahead and just request a refund, and we're happy to give it to you. And this is where you can sign up. Go to christopherkai.com, christopherkai.com/GPS. You'll get our GPS program. It's an online program, all online. You'll be part of our Facebook group, a private group. You'll get the ebook, which is the #1 bestseller on Amazon, which teaches you what I learned over 20 years, 20 basic strategies, what do you do before, during, and after events to get those clients you deserve. And lastly, the benefits, the bonuses you get. All these different things is for you. Limited seats available. If you have trouble purchasing, email me at support@christopherkai.com or go on my website. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Thank you so much for being part of this webinar. I really, really appreciate it. Just feel free, again, to ask any questions you might have now. And just go to my website right now, christopherkai.com. There's more details on there. There's the website. There's these videos. And I encourage you to look at my YouTube videos as well. When you want to see how effective a person's program is, you want to look at the testimonials. It's all about, do they get results? So go to my YouTube, go to my speaking reel, go to my speaking testimonials where I've gotten billionaires, executives and celebrities to endorse me as a speaker. Elon Musk once said that I know a lot, which is just very flattering for him to say. But again, go on YouTube, go check out my videos. There are dozens of videos about art gifters getting real results fairly quickly. And so I'm just so grateful. So again, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to having you join our global community.